Hello friends! In this video, I will show you two simple ways to transition from one key to another key in a very smooth and seamless way. If you stay to the end, I will include some variations of these two simple ways that will make your piano playing sound more advanced and professional. Let's begin with a simple idea or technique from transitioning to one key to another. Say we start in C major, that's the key of the song we're playing, of a hymn. Say, Jesus loves me. Let's keep it very simple. C major. And you want to change keys from C to, let's say, D major. All right, the simple way to do this is you have to find the fifth, or the dominant as they call it in music theory, of the new key. So if you're in C major and you want to travel up to D major, you need to find the fifth of D major because that will be your new key. So the fifth of D major, count from D, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is A. That will be your chord. So you build the A chord, the triad, major third, and then another minor third, or major third and a perfect fifth interval. If you don't know your intervals too well, you can refresh them very quickly. But this is a major chord that will take you to the new key that you want to play, Jesus Loves Me, for example, in D major. So let's just try to put these three chords together. You just finished in C major, and now you want to go to the new key, so you're going to play A major first, sorry. Etc. So if I play in C major, Jesus Loves Me. Let's see, let's finish it. And I want to go to D, so I'm going to add a suspended fourth chord that will resolve in the A major that I showed you. And now we're off to D. All right. Let's go to another hymn, a hymn that's very popular. I know Jesus Loves Me is very common and popular, but a few weeks ago I played for a funeral and the closing song was Amazing Grace. And I thought there would just be 4 verses. It was in a different denomination, and they included all the verses. You have different hymnals. In some hymnals, depending the denomination, you have 4 verses, 5. But in this service, they sang all 6 verses. And I thought there would only be 4. So in my head, I planned, okay, let's do a key change after each verse because it will uplift the spirits, it will bring more energy to the congregation as a closing of the celebration of life of a dear member that had passed away. And I knew the lyrics of the last verse, but I knew that wasn't the last verse when we got there. So I just kept changing keys up and up and up. And the congregation made it, but they were pretty high up there by the time we sang When I've Been There 10,000 Years. So it was an experience. But let's start with Amazing Grace in the key of F. What I do, if you can see in the hymn Amazing Grace, usually it's either an F major or a G major. But let's say we're reading it in F major. And we just finished. Now I want to go just a half step higher, which I usually do for congregations, so it's not much of a big interval. So from F, we want to go to F sharp. Now, of course, you probably heard some pianists do it this way. So you directly go to the new key change without finding the fifth of the new key. Now that can work on some hymns, but it can be a little rough or too direct. And if you want to make it a smoother transition, go ahead and find the fifth, which you've already learned. So the fifth of F sharp major is, let's count from F sharp, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There you go. C sharp. So you build that chord with the major third and then add the perfect fifth from your C sharp, and that's the major chord. And if you want to add more tension leading into the new key, you add a seventh, that B. So this is the dominant seventh chord that will take you very smoothly to the next key, F sharp. Near the end of this video, I will show you what I usually do when I change keys for church, congregation, that I like how it sounds more, because this can sound very basic or classical, and it works, but I like changing things up from time to time. All right, so let's say we want to go from F to F sharp. So we finish Amazing Grace. This is the dominant, by the way, of the old key, F, and now we find the dominant of the new key, which is C sharp major, and we're off to the next verse. All right, so let's break it down a little more. You're in F major, and you want to go to the dominant of the new key. So let's do left hand first. A simple way to do this, which, by the way, several of my students have enjoyed learning this. They've asked how to make hymns sound more interesting or how to do key changes. And I have a few students that they're mainly interested in doing church music and working on hymns. So I love doing this, by the way. Left hand, when you land on the final chord of a hymn, just play octaves if you reach, if you're comfortable with that, and go down 2 whole steps. So this is 1 whole step. You have to skip 1 key and then go down another whole step. So you basically walk down your bass to the first note of that fifth of the new key, which is C sharp. Now with the right hand, what do? As you walk down with the left hand, just stay put on that F major chord. And when you land and play the C sharp of the left hand, change the chord with your right hand. Go to that C sharp major. So I'm doing in a second inversion, which means starting on a G sharp and then filling in. You could also go up and play in a root position, which is starting on the C sharp. All right, so each inversion will create a different sound, and you get to choose which one you like more. For me, I choose the second inversion, and then I walk up the melody or the top note and begin the melody on octaves if I want to give it more energy, for example. All right, that is one simple way to change keys from F major to F sharp. Now, a second way is, okay, say I don't want to go up to F sharp because F sharp just has too many sharps, and I don't want to read off of the hymnal, or I don't want to think of too many sharps because F sharp has 6 sharps. So let's say you want to go from F major to G major. That's a whole step. All right, same process. Find the dominant of the new key. The dominant of the new key is, all right, new key is G major, so let's find it. You count up 5, starting from the first note of the new key. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, and D major is the dominant of the new key. All right, so you build that chord and you land on G major. In a very simple way, it would sound like this. And you're off to the new key. Now let's look at how we can do this a little more interesting, so that you don't go from F directly to D major. So you landed on F, walk down the left hand bass a whole step, but then you'll walk down just a half step to the dominant of the new key. That's at least how you can do it in an easy way. And then with the right hand, you play the new key, the dominant of the new key, which is D major. Now, a lot of times I prefer doing a suspended fourth on the right hand, which is the 4th interval of the dominant chord of the 5th of the new key. So it would sound like this. So it adds some tension which you resolve. So you have something more interesting going on, building some tension that resolves, and then you go into the new key. All right, let's do one more example of Amazing Grace, and then we will go to one final hymn and see how it changes. All right, so Amazing Grace, let's say we just want to go from F major back to F sharp, like in our previous example. What I prefer doing a lot is this. I'll play and then I'll show you what I did. Okay, so what I did was add a different chord with the right hand at first that gives the music a little more tension, so that then it resolves on the dominant, the fifth of the new key, and it takes us to the home chord of the new key, which is F sharp. So let's go back. F major. Remember the simple way to move your left hand to find that dominant? Just go down 2 whole steps and you land on C sharp. Now what changed in the second variation is that I did not go directly to the C sharp major with my right hand. I went to the subdominant chord of the new key. The subdominant chord is the 4th of the new key. So let's find the 4th from the new key of F sharp. 1, 2, 3. You got it? That's B major. So with the right hand, I'm playing that B major chord against my left hand C sharp, which is, the left hand by the way, the root note of the dominant of the new key. So it'll be like this. Ready? Walk down, and this is a subdominant right hand against the dominant bass of the left hand, and we're off. All right, let's do the same thing now from F going into G major, in case you want to avoid all those sharps from F sharp. So we just landed on F major, and now we want to go to G major, and this is now C major is the subdominant, or the 4th of the new key of G. Yeah, let's try that one more time, a little slower. And this is F major. 1, 2, 3, and subdominant with the right hand against the dominant with the left hand. Now, one thing you also have to consider when changing keys from let's say whatever, in any hymn, you have to know what time signature the hymn or the song is in. For example, Amazing Grace is 3/4, which means you have 3 beats per measure. So when you land on the dominant, on that 5th chord of the new key, you want to make sure it's on beat 1 of the next measure, like this. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, 1. So by the time you land on the first beat of the new key, that's your 1. Because sometimes I've had students that learn how to change the keys, but then in some hymns it just doesn't make sense. Like something was off, something felt wrong, and it was the timing. So now, Amazing Grace, that's in 3 beats per measure. Let's go to another hymn, which is in 4/4, which means 4 beats per measure. A very common one is Holy, Holy, Holy. And I'll play the last part. So I'm gonna count here. This is 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And you begin that next verse. All right, so let's walk through that key change. Something I really like doing when I play at church is if a hymn calls for it. If there's, for example, 3 or 4 verses and the hymn has a lot of energy in the lyrics going into that last verse, I absolutely like changing keys for the last verse. All right, so then let's go to the end of the 3rd verse before changing keys to D major for that final verse. So basically, I would land on dominant of the old key, which is A flat to D flat major. And now we have 4 beats per measure. So 1, 2, 3, walk down, subdominant with the right hand of the new key and dominant, and off we go. And we can add things like that, an arpeggio. Anyway, whatever you like to do, that's for another video, to make things more interesting as you play in whatever key you choose. So let me play this key transition one more time, but slower for you to see. This is from verse 3 to verse 4. 1, 2, walk down, 3 and 4, and subdominant of the new key, which is G major, because the new key is D. So 1, 2, 3, 4 is G, and resolve on beat 3 of that added measure, and you play 2 beats on A major, and then you're off to D major. All right. I hope that was simple enough. I know once you practice a few hymns and key changes, this will make your piano playing much better, more interesting, and it will give you more joy as well. I am sure of it, because it has for me. Since I mentioned at the beginning, if you stay to the end, I would give you an extra tip or suggestion to make your key changes sound more advanced or professional. Let's put that in place. So from that same key change we did in Holy Holy, we had D flat, you walk down, and we're gonna do that subdominant, which already adds a lot of interest. Okay, what you can do is just fill in. You can fill in playing broken chords with the right hand, add more rhythm to that, and you can add a scale up to that D, which is the beginning of the new key. So for example, what I would do to give it more oomph and energy is something like this. One, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. So you can do that scale, the walk up with the right hand, that run on beat 4. So this is the transition to the new key. 1, 2, and 3, 4, 1, or 4 and 1. Now, it doesn't have to be really measured, that run up. You don't have to think of it, oh, it has to be exact 16th notes or triplets, whatever it is. Just a run up. Now, you can make it really measured if you want. For example, you could start on the C sharp and do this. 1, 2, 3, 4, E, and well, that would have been 4 and. That would have been 30-second notes. All right, so you can do it slower like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So you can do it measured, making those notes a little slower, or just do it on the last beat and make it sound more like a quick run. 4, 1, 2. However you'd like. One more thing that you can do is add movement with the left hand. Notice that when I change keys, I do something like this. 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4. Just add more, it adds more intensity if you keep repeating that bass. You can even tremolo, do something like this. And so many more ideas we could keep talking about, but maybe for a different video. Thank you for watching to the end. If you would like for me to work on a different technique or an idea or on a different hymn that you'd like to hear a video on, please comment in the description below, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Thank you for your support. Have a great day.